Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to explain sectors of economy, Indian economy. So as you know, there are three main sectors in an economy: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Primary sector, agriculture and allied activities. Allied activities include fishing, mining, animal husbandry, poultry, rearing of livestock, etc. The Indian economy is predominantly agrarian economy. In the year 1970-71, as you can see, 74% of the workforce was dependent on agriculture. Now, as the time passed, the dependency on agriculture sector has reduced, and it has come down to 49% in the year 2011 and 12. So we can see there is a sharp transition from agriculture to the other sectors. So agriculture sector even till today is overcrowded. Why it is overcrowded? Because the agriculture sector compared to the other sector is less productive. The contribution of agriculture or the primary sector to the gross domestic product is much lesser than the other sectors. Here I'll show you a fact. You can see the contribution of different sectors in GDP: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. So primary sector in the year during the year 1973-74, you can see, though the 74% of the workforce was dependent on agriculture, but the share of GDP, but the GDP share of agriculture or the primary sector is much lesser. All the three sectors were at the lower side, but you can see 74% of the people were dependent on agriculture and allied activities, and their contribution, you can see, is less than 5 lakh crore. In fact, altogether, the GDP shared by all the three sectors were little more than 5 lakh crore. And in that, you know, even the primary sector didn't even contribute half of whatever GDP all the three sectors jointly contributed. Now, in the year 2013 and 14, you can see 27% of the employment is shared by tertiary sector, agriculture 49% and secondary sector 24%. So if we can see in the year 2011 and 12, almost half of the population are dependent on agriculture, and you can see their contribution is much lesser. You can see the percentage the agriculture sector contributes is approximately 12 to 13%, whereas the tertiary sector, which contributes more than 50%. We can see it is approximately 70% contribution to GDP is from tertiary sector. Secondary sector contribution, secondary 24% of the employment, 24% of the employment is shared by secondary sector, and their contribution is around 20%. You can see 20, little more than 20%. So now there is a growing importance of tertiary sector. We can see, though the tertiary sector shares only 27% of the workforce, but the contribution of tertiary sector is approximately 70%. So that clearly shows that the majority of the income is from tertiary sector in an economy like India. So tertiary sector is the major sector, and over the period of time you can see that as the economy grows, the importance of tertiary sector increases. If you compare Indian economy with the economy of the developed countries, you can see in developed countries like USA, France, Britain, in all this economy, majority of the population are dependent on tertiary sector, and as a result of this, income is more, GDP is more, per capita income is more. Whereas in the case of India, one fourth of the total population, approximately little more than one fourth of the total population, are dependent on tertiary sector. So this is the difference. Indian economy, even till today, is predominantly dependent on agriculture. But agriculture, as you know, as you can see, is unproductive. Except a few states of our country, in the rest of the part of our country, you can see agriculture is backward agriculture. And in agricultural sector, we can see mostly people are employed more than the required numbers. So disguised unemployment, seasonal unemployment, these are the two types of unemployment that are mostly visible in Indian agriculture, and it is because of that Indian economy is even till today at the stage of developing economy. So in order to increase the economic development, in order to increase the gross domestic product of a country, it is very important that more and more people are employed in tertiary sector. Then only economy can grow. So this is the difference between Indian economy and economy of a developed country. So in the economy of a developed country, say for example USA, you can see there in agriculture, very less number of the total population are dependent on agriculture or primary sector, but the productivity is very high, even higher than many of the developing countries, many of the third world countries or the Asian countries. Why it is? Because agriculture over there is completely mechanized agriculture, and modern method of farming is adopted, and the farmers over there are the entrepreneurs, and as a result of this, even though less number of population are involved in the primary sector, but their productivity is high. But in our country, since agriculture is at the backward stage in most of the part of the country, so even half of the population are dependent on agriculture, and as a result of this half of the population, they are only contributing, you can see 12 to 13% to the gross domestic product. So we can say that there is a necessity of shifting the excess workforce from agriculture to the industrial or the tertiary sector. Now the question is, why most of the people are employed in agriculture? The answer is clear cut: due to the lack of employment opportunities. If employment opportunities increases, then obviously more number of people, those who are now involved in primary sector, will definitely shift to the tertiary sector, and income will also increase, standard of living of the country will increase, and that will of course increase the overall economic growth of a country. Thank you. If you like the video, please share, and it is very important to subscribe the channel to get important updates.